They say Reno is the city that never truly sleeps, not because of its bustling casinos, but because of the whispers, echoes of things that should have been forgotten. It was a cold October night when I first heard the stories. I was new to Reno, a college transfer who took a cheap room in an old Victorian house just off Wells Avenue. Locals warned her the area was haunted. They spoke of the Phantom of Truckee Meadows, a spirit bound to the land since long before the casinos, long before the settlers, but I laughed it off. Ghosts? Really? Then came the knock. It was soft at first, as though someone tapped on her bedroom window with their fingernail. I glanced outside, but there was nothing. The streets were quiet. She convinced herself it was the wind rattling the glass, and she went back to studying. But the knock came again, harder this time, and with it a whisper. "Get out, before the river rises." I froze. The voice was low and raspy, like gravel scraping against wood. My window faced the backyard, impossible for anyone to reach without climbing. She didn't believe in ghosts, but something about that voice chilled her to the bone. The next morning, I asked my landlord about the house. He hesitated before telling me the truth. "It's probably nothing," he said, "but there are stories about this place. Back in the 1800s, when the Truckee River flooded, they found a woman's body washed up right where this house stands now. They say she was a wanderer, never belonged anywhere, but the townsfolk, they killed her. They blamed her for the flood, said she cursed the river. Some say she still haunts these parts, warning people when the water will rise again." I laughed nervously, trying to shake off the fear. But that night the knocking returned, louder and more insistent. "Get out!" the voice echoed, shaking the walls. And this time, I saw her. A pale figure stood at the foot of my bed. The ghostly woman wore tattered, waterlogged clothing, her eyes empty sockets, her fingers long and clawed. Water dripped from her dress, pooling at her feet, and she pointed a skeletal hand at me. "The river is rising," the spirit hissed. "You must leave." I bolted from the house and never looked back. The next day, the news reported a freak flood in Reno, caused by an unexpected storm that swelled the Truckee River beyond its banks. My old house was one of the first places submerged. Locals still talk about the Phantom of Truckee Meadows. Some say she's a warning, trying to save people from tragedy. Others believe she's the reason the floods come at all, a restless spirit seeking revenge on the city that wronged her. Whatever the truth, one thing is certain. In Reno, the past never truly stays buried.